Hello. This is not an episode of the James Rambling Show. I know you might remember this time, but I was gonna start the review show, and I wanna get into it because I've been saying this for a long time, and I've not actually gotten into it. So I'm gonna be talking about the three Lord of the Rings books, like I promised, which is the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, and the Return of the King. So, for those who don't know, the Lord of the Rings is basically this saga. It's well known. You have the Lords of the Rings basically, and you have how they forge these rings, and who these rings are actually for, and they basically determine who is gonna get this ring. And in the end, or in the beginning, I should say, you have this thing where Frodo is the chosen one, and he basically is this guy who has to destroy the ring. He basically has to bear it. He's trying to protect the ring so that he's able to he's the one to destroy it. So he's got this ring right, but then he's the one who should actually destroy this at the same time, because because then you start to realize that this ring is used for evil, and it's doing all this harm, and it's not less harm than good. It's that kind of thing, and you see that in the story, and you see that extrapolate through the story itself, and that's sort of what the Lord of the Rings is about, and that kind of thing. So I actually think this is probably one of the best novel series I have read in a long time. Now, I haven't really read books, but just the way it's structured and the way it builds itself up, and how J.R. Tolkien, the author, just delivers a lot of decentness to this, and there's a lot of changes that were made with this book to the movies, and you can definitely see that, because you see how Gandalf's phrase "you shall not pass" is kind of changed in the movie, and then it's changed from the movie to sound a bit more interesting. And I just think that the Fellowship of the Ring is definitely this sort of book where it builds itself into the series. You see how it's gonna play out, and then when the Two Towers kicks around, you actually learn more about Gollum as a character, more than you did in Fellowship of the Ring, and you just see how Gollum is. He acts. You see how he becomes this sitting crazy little goblin guy. You start to see so much about Gollum as a character. And I just feel the way they just do that, and you just learn more about this character, and you feel more invested in the story now, because you've gotten more context, and you've sort of understood what happens in the previous book that is going to continue the story that's already been told, but it's sort of just making that sort of thing go further and further, and you learn more about Frodo, and you learn more about Samwise Gamgee, Gandalf, and how Gandalf becomes Gandalf the White, and you see all of this, and them recovering from the Boromir death. The Boromir death is when Boromir died at the end of the Fellowship of the Ring, and they basically have to sort of grieve that, and that sort of just continues forward, and you see more of that. You see more of Lord of the Rings, and that's sort of what the Two Towers is. And I think the Two Towers just does a great job at doing that. I definitely think Two Towers is an amazing book. I think Fellowship of the Ring is an amazing book. And if you didn't know it already, I was actually very on topic, and that's what I'm trying to do here, because if I go on a tangent during a review, it's just going to make things boring. It's going to get boring, because I'm trying to review one thing and stick to one topic. However, enough of that little clarification here. There's also Return of the King. Return of the King. This is the epic conclusion to this saga of books. So, you just see how Aragorn basically becomes the king, and he's a part of the Fellowship, and you see all these characters grow, and you just see like Merry and Pippin Merry and Pippin. You see how Merry or Pippin, because they become more brave in the battle. The epic battle leads to everything, and then when they win the battle, it's just like victory time, and then Aragorn becomes the king, and that's sort of how this whole book plays out. You see those characters develop even more, and you just see Frodo. You see Frodo in this sort of still in this nervous state. He's trying to get to Mordor. He has Sam on his back, and then he actually encounters a spider at one point in the book and in the movie as well. You see him and he's struggling, and then Sam helps him, and then he finally destroys the ring. And when he destroys the ring, he feels happy because he's just done something great. Then he goes back to Hobbiton and he just celebrates, and he's realised how he did this entire thing, and he succeeded at it. And also in Return of the King, you actually start to learn about how Gollum came to be, and how he actually used to be a human, but then he turned into this creepy goblin creature. And that's sort of my thoughts on these books. So the James Rambling Show reviews is coming at you now. It's coming at you. I don't know if this will actually be called the James Rambling Reviews or whatever the case may be. It might even be something different. Maybe I've thought of like James Rambling Reviews or Ramblecast Reviews or the Rambling Podcast Special Episode 1 or something like that. So yeah, I'll upload this to the More James Rambling Show channel, and I'll see how this does, and if you want to see more of this review content, let me know, because I really want to try something sort of different, where I try and go on topic, and I try to go on less tangents, because rambling can mean just talking about things forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, not just tangents. Yeah, that you just sort of just got the gist of what this review show is going to be like. So with that said, hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to put this on Spotify as well, just to see. I'm actually because I want to see what you all think of this review show, because I just don't want to. I want to sort of get away from being random and try a bit of just rambling and not going on tangents and stuff like that, because me going on tangents is just going to get repetitive and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty much it.